Hi, I'm Sean McClure, author of Barry Goupe in the Midst of Lies. One of the most questions I get asked is, Sean, what inspired you to write the book of Barry Goupe? Well, back in December of 2012, I was reading through the book of Job. And for anybody who has read through the book of Job or understands what Job is about, you'll remember that Satan and some angels were walking about in the earth. And they went to God, and God said, "What are you doing?" Well, the angels and Satan said, "Oh, we're just going back and forth through the earth." And basically, Satan was trying to find someone to tempt. Well, God said, "Have you considered my servant Job?" Now, this was different for me because I always thought that Satan had gone to God and he had found Job and said, "Hey, God, I want to take this Job guy. I want to mess with him." But instead, it was the other way around. God knew that Job would not reject God. So God said, "Well, Satan, try my servant Job. You can do anything to him but kill him." Well, and that's what Satan did. Satan took all of his kids from him. All of Job's kids died. All of his animals and livestock died. He got extremely sick. It almost sounded like leprosy. There was parts where he took broken pottery clay and he was scraping his hands with, or his arms with it. And he wanted to die. Job wanted to die. He had actually prayed to God to let him die. And Job even cursed his own death and said, "God, why was I even born?" Well, I think the other part that kind of struck me too is that Job had these four friends that came in, and those four friends were basically telling Job, "You did something wrong, Job. There's no way that this would have fallen upon you if you didn't do something bad. So you need to look at yourself and figure out what you did wrong." Well, at the time I was writing a blog, and I thought, hey, I want to incorporate the story of Job into a blog post, or a series of blog posts. I was probably thinking about between 5 and 10 posts, and at a blog you're probably thinking about 500 words thereabouts. So I thought I'd just make it a small parable about a rich guy who something happened to him, and his friends started to think badly of him, and various things started to fall around him. Well, as I started to get writing in this blog, I found that as I got to about the 7th blog post, the story was just beginning. I was nowhere near finished with this story. So I pulled it off the blog and I started writing the book. It took me 3 months to finish Barry Goupe, and in the meantime what I found is that Evan Victor Edwards, he's the first name in the book, he's actually the rich kid in the story. Barry Goupe is actually a poor kid that just moved into this small Pennsylvania town. Well, Evan Victor Edwards, he befriended Barry, and together they formed this real short friendship. Very early on in the story, they formed a friendship, and then it's not too long into the story when Evan Victor Edwards is arrested for computer hacking. And Barry Goupe doesn't quite know what to think about this because, first of all, he's a little bit apprehensive anyway that this rich kid really wants to hang out with him. So he's thinking, well, did he want to use me for something? What's going on? And so throughout this whole time, as he's getting interviewed by the FBI and the police, Barry is wondering if this kid really is who he said he is, if he really is this great guy. What's neat about it is I wrote this book for my 3 teenage kids. I wanted to have a Christian youth novel that had some wholesome content, but that was also exciting. I wanted it to be action-packed. Being a computer guy myself, I work with databases during the day. That's my full-time job. And computer hacking kind of interests me. It fascinates me. So I did a bunch of research, and I incorporated that research into this book. So I think it's real exciting. A lot of people have come to me and said, "Sean, for a first book, you actually did a really good job. I couldn't put it down." And that's exciting to hear for an author. I'm really thankful for those comments. If you haven't read Barry Goupe, I encourage you to pick it up. It's available on Amazon.com. You can get it in the paperback version or in the Kindle version. Either one is fine. And when you're done reading it, I would really appreciate it if you would go in there and write a review on the book, your honest review. And I would really like to see what you think about that as well. So until next time, thanks for listening.